Hey guys, it's me, Cupid. I have schizophrenia. So today, I just want to get right into if you guys would like your story to be told, or if you'd like to tell your story for other people to hear and be able to understand and listen and feel like you've been heard, I'd be willing to have your story be told on my channel. Um, you can either send it in writing and make it as long as possible, as long as it's not over, you know, 50 pages or so. Um, I just want it. I want to make sure you guys understand that I do only have a certain amount of time. Videos, um, no longer than 15 minutes. In the video, you can tell your story. In writing, make sure that you guys are appropriate in both of them, and then um, you can either remain anonymous or I can use your name. Either way, it is up to you guys. I just want to make sure you guys have a voice, a way to speak up to the world and tell them your story. So, today we're going to be telling, or he's going to be telling it for himself, Kevin's story. Kevin is going to be telling his story in a video. So, we'll get right into it.
Hello. Uh, this is what I was writing down about my experience with schizophrenia. Uh, my name is Kevin Patrick Johnson. Born 10/23/1995. Born and raised in the land of Lincoln, Rockford, Illinois. My name means handsome, noble birth. That's what Kevin means. Patrick is patrician or king. Johnson, Dick, or trustworthy. I had somewhat of an easy and hard life at times. I've had a lot of trauma and messed up things happen to me multiple times, and I suppressed a lot of emotions deep down, so I never had to deal with them. My father was always there, but at times a little abusive. Um, he was bad into pills, and when he didn't have pills, he would kind of take it out on us, our kids at the time, my brothers and sisters and stuff, and that's besides the fact. But and not to mention, he was 12 years old when he had me. So I talk about being very young. My mom was 16, so they were young parents. So I was the experiment. I was the first kid, so they're learning themselves. So you know, for them to get some things wrong is not you know out of the question. Uh, Also, my dad's name is Adam Mondahano. My mother's name is Nicole, which means victor of the people. Look it up. I grew up active in sports, ABA, BMX, like Cyril's Park in Rockford, right next to Lockwood. I would race every Sunday and Wednesday for gate practice. And I was also wrestling and football. So I was all around athlete. I could pick up anything. I was just the type of person that once I put motivation and drive to something, I can make it happen. And so I was in sports. It taught me discipline. As I grew older, I got rebellious against both of my parents and started drugging and using all day, every day, skipping class and acting out. So fast forward to being 18 years old and ready to move out, I had met an older woman and fell in love. Her name was Ebony, Black Beauty. Despite her being 10 years older than me, really 11 years by a couple months, 11 years older than me, we got along very well. We just clicked. I was always trying to impress her and going all out. And I don't know, we'd walk in parks and smoke weed and just we'd watch movies and cuddle. And we just had an all around healthy love for each other from at the start, and it was a good love through all of it, but it got a little rough sometimes. uh my father saw that I had a woman and wanted to help me and offered to get me in with his buddy at a construction work job, R&D Steel in Belvedere. And I got my first car as I maintained a stable job, But before all that, I had to get my GED. So I got that in 2 weeks through Youth Build, which is, I don't know if it's an old program or going on right now. But Youth Build, if you've ever heard of it. And so I got the job, I got the car, you know, I did exactly what I needed to do to propel myself forward in life. And life was good. Before I knew it, me and Ebony were expecting a daughter named Avia. And I came up with both of the child names. Ebony was 6 to 7 months pregnant, and I took her to the hospital because she was bleeding out of her private. And we didn't think nothing of it. We were just like, oh, something, But I had friends with me, so I dropped them off and then got a call from Ebony saying that the baby doesn't have a heartbeat. So that didn't really hit me. I was just like, what the fuck? And I hung up, and I was fighting tears, hitting like 100 miles an hour on back streets and in busy streets and shit. And I got there, and I got there, and the doctor was saying the baby had no heartbeat, and I broke down. Seeing her and talking to the doctor, I broke down. I still was working. Oh, I broke down. Sorry, I just wrote this right now, so give me a second. Yeah, I broke down really bad. Got into a drug addiction, both of us. She was a stillborn, so she was fairly along in her pregnancy, and she still had to give birth to a dead fetus, which, like, I thought that was bad just knowing my daughter, but like imagining her like having to still give birth to something that's dead and deformed looking, so I know it was probably more scarring for her than it was for me being the father. So it was that day I really believed and questioned God in my life. I was just that was really when I felt like I needed to talk to him. I needed to wonder why. Because even the doctors didn't know why. They didn't have any excuses. They were just like, oh, it's just natural causes. We don't know why. So I was really thrown off and kind of envy and mad at God, although trying to believe and comprehend what he was trying to do. But as you say, she was still born. Her soul was made. She was purest soul that could ever be made because she wasn't tainted by sin. Also, let's go. All right. Yeah, we would go to the park or be in like with so many buildings and stuff around, and I would see a white butterfly flying around. And I related the white butterfly with Pure, and I related that to her, to Avia. So I was like, I always see that, when I'm thinking about her or when we talk about her, a white butterfly would pop up. So I was like, dude, God's giving me signs, God's, so I started to slowly not really just agree to disagree with what he wanted to do with my daughter, and, accept that, it maybe was for the best interest. And, I just refused to believe that she was just dead and that's it. Like when you have a daughter, you're just like, I didn't really believe in God much. I went to church during holidays and, stuff like that. So church was like not really a thing for me, or God, period, was not really a thing. Not that I was an atheist, just like, I just really wasn't buying into it yet because I haven't had that moment in life where I really needed him. And, So, as time moved on, our relationships had ups and downs, me and Ebony, but we were expecting again after she left Rockford, went to California, set up her life, and, I was begging her to come back, and she did come back for me, and right when she came back, like, within a month or two, she got pregnant again. So I was so excited, just happy to be a dad, because you don't know how important or how sad it is to be a parent expecting, and that's taken from you. So it was a little upsetting for me. But as time moved on, our relationship, we were expecting, I was happy, also scared. I was making good money at this place, Maricold, which that's a food storage place. So anything Walmart and Aldi's where you go shop and get food went through me first. It was like serving, but with the forklift. So I was like serving food to people on a pallet. Uh, all right, and then called a miracle. Yeah, I used a forklift, food on a pallet. Yeah, and then I loved my job. I would wake up and be so happy because like it was like doing a race car. I always rode bikes, so I like to go fast, and I always like to go fast, 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 fast. That's how I work. Boom, 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 boom. And I think that's uh, Latino because I kind of learned from them. My first job, I was working in the back lumberyard pulling trusses off the rollers and making houses, $1 million houses. I'm stacking, nailing, so they liked my work ethic. I was a scrawny little, like 130, 140 pound kid pulling stuff that's like 10 times my weight, but I'm moving fast and I'm like making up ground. They liked that I had a good work ethic. And that carried on to the Americold place, which the job that was my favorite job because I made good money. I loved what I did. It's fun to be in there, whipping the forklift and going up high on a reach truck and putting stuff in the storage and loading the truck fast all by yourself. And the bosses are like, we salute you, like, they cared about you there. And my boss, my lead man or lead foreman, whatever, was very nice, and kind of I messed up a couple times where I should have got drug tested, and if they would have did that, I would have been gone. But he was like, "Dude, don't worry about it," and I think like kind of they had cameras everywhere in the building, so like the bosses would be watching you, and like if you're taking too long sitting in one aisle, they'll call the boss and be like, "Look, what is dude doing? Whoa, whoa, whoa!" So like that was like what kind of helped some of my I feel like I manifested some of my own illness because I always felt like people were watching. So that was the first time I got a sense of people was watching besides God. I was always looking at the cameras and like, feeling like, oh, they're watching me do it right now. So like that was kind of going into my mental slip. I was adding these things to myself, which I think it's somewhat genetic, but also I think you kind of manifest these things, by maybe being yelled at, you get anxiety, like just things this like it was manifesting not just by genetics but also by me doing this to myself. So I was asking God passionately every day for like a month or two. Every single day I'm walking into work crying, I'm going out of work leaving crying, saying, God, make me a lead man. Make me a lead man. Looking at the sky, screaming it, yelling it, feeling it in my heart. My heart was heavy. And I'm like, God, make me a lead man. Make me a lead man at work. Make me a lead man every single day for a long time, dude. For a good month or two, I started to argue with Ebony, and I started to argue, and then I would go home, and talk to myself and make myself laugh because when I was arguing with her, I didn't want to talk to her. I'd rather just talk to myself. And, I was so insecure about her wanting to be with other people. I started thinking there's people outside my house waiting to come in and have sex with her while I'm sleeping or something. So I'm manifesting all these things in myself while I'm smoking weed, which is psychoactive. So I'm getting high all day on breaks of work and manifesting these things in my head. So I think marijuana did kind of play a part in it, and so now I was calling on him a week or two before I had my first outburst of psychosis or really strong symptoms. I can remember me starting to slip. Like even before that stuff, there's times where I would smoke weed and I get super paranoid and I start feeling like people are reading my brain or reading my body language or reading what I'm thinking, it was just like I would just brush it off because I was like, oh, that's weird. Maybe it's just anxiety, maybe I just need some Xanax or something, like I'm just talking to myself in my head, but I would talk to myself in third person like I'm guessing what they're thinking about me in this moment in time and stuff. So my voices were like in third person. Sometimes it would be first person saying about me, myself, so, and then sometimes it was a deep voice. Sometimes it was, So I'm like, I relate some of these things to God or the devil and stuff like that. So, all right, I'm talking to myself, joking, laughing, waiting outside the house. Yeah, let's see. A couple days before my first hospitalization, we split up, and I smoke weed regularly, like I said, and she knew drug dealers and I didn't. She was the older, she knew where to get the drugs from. I didn't, and so I went around town asking people for marijuana. Like Rockford, it's not hard to find somebody that's selling some weed, honestly, if you know about Rockford. It's very easy to run across somebody that's got some marijuana. So I'm asking random people, and the sky's darkening. It's about to rain. I run into this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, I got it. Are you sure you want this?" Giving me a weird ass vibe, and I'm not hallucinating at this point. So I'm like, what is wrong with dude? But me being so stupid, I took the drug and was like, dude, why are you acting funny? Give me the weed, dude, you weirdo. Like, so I'm not like really like shit is like, it feels like a movie. So this is, so I went home. All right. I went home, drug dealer, looked through the ass. Yes, copped, yes, smoked, and went to work. And I've never been so high in my life. When you chase that dragon and it's like, you finally catch it and you're like, damn, I've never been this high. Like, once you can never get as high as you've been the first couple times that you get high. And there was like 10 times that I was like, holy shit, this is some good stuff. What I'm saying? So I'm like, woo, like I'm like amped up and shit. And then I went to work and I just lost it. I lost it. I was thinking my boss is like evil, and then like all these fucking things. I was seeing people, but it made I was seeing like frowns on their faces, and I'm like, why is everybody looking sad? Is there something going on? Is the boss being abusive and hitting people or being this? So I started thinking my boss was like doing some weird shit to these guys because everybody was looking at me and I would see frowns and stuff, and that was part of my hallucination. Like, I was starting to see stuff. I wouldn't hallucinate. Like, I would hallucinate shadows and stuff, but I wouldn't hallucinate people, like false people and shit. So, I didn't know about schizophrenia, so I thought I was chosen. I started thinking I'm a prophet. I would walk in the water with my shoes off and talking to nature and like throwing up black power in the hood, like it's good that I didn't get killed or shot for that, because that's such a sensitive thing. But I was thinking people of color, and I instantly went to Indians first and Jesus and all the stuff that I thought I knew when I really didn't know much about it. But I would like, I would, and I started thinking I'm a prophet and chosen of God, and all the usual symptoms that they say. Which, don't you ever wonder why, like that church that some churches have their hands in hospitals and stuff, like if you know your history and shit, you would think like you would be a little baffled, and it's crazy to think outside the box, but sometimes you have to because we're 1%. You have to think like we're one in a million, and so let's see. Yeah, I left work, and I'm telling my child's mother, like, I have to go help these people. They're sad. The boss is doing weird shit and blah, 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 blah. They're sad. We gotta go save them. So they did the right shit and called the cops and had me pulled over, had me go into an ambulance. And like, I'm psych, like, I'm like this, like weird. I was gone. Like, they're like, Kevin is not Kevin. Like, that is not Kevin right there. So I got mad, and I was mad. I was like, you call the police on me, you don't believe me, so I'm like psychotic and going like, but even in the midst of all that, even in the worst, I never wanted to hurt people. Even if it was a thought, I always had control over my actions. So I salute the people that have been through the voices and don't act, because, like, I was like, man, dude, if I do act, like, it's just gonna get worse, it's just gonna be truth now, when it's false. I'm gonna make that my truth. So that's why I would fight the voices tooth and nail since they fucking started, you know? And they pulled me over. I'm rambling nonsense. I forever remember the sad faces of the doctors when I'm in the hospital bed, talking to grandma, talking to my mother, saying he's the sharp one, she's the sharp one, saying weird stuff like, where is it coming from? And I could see the doctors are sad, I could see sad, and they're like, dude, this guy is gone, I don't know what he was before, but I know that's not him, and it was just all bad, and they were like, this most likely will be the rest of my life, they knew about the illnesses, they know about these things, so they're like, yeah, he's, they've seen some schizophrenics, and I could tell they were like, damn, he's really fucked, like he's really bad, and getting into the hospital, I'm seeing people that look familiar and the same eyes as other people that I've seen, like starting to go to the G, like we all come from the same thing and shit, like, all that stuff. So, and they kind of might remind me of people in my family and stuff. And I'm like, weird, okay. And the hospital rules are that you can sign yourself out, but the doctor has to let you go. Now, though I'm hallucinating very severely, again, I'm not hallucinating fake scenarios and shit. So I get in there and I'm trying to be like holier than thou. I'm like, God, I love you. Jesus loves you, I love you. And I'm thinking about myself like I could be the fucking Messiah or something, and that's not truth. But I'm like, God, I want everybody's demons in here. Give everybody's demons to me. And right when I said that, I didn't say it out loud, but I thought that thought. Almost all of the patients in there looked at me at the same time and were like, did he really just... Like 5 or 6 patients got up, went to the desk, and were like, it's time for me to leave. And they let them go. I'm like, weird. Once I started getting hospitalized more and realizing the real shit, why did they let them go when they didn't sign themselves out? Or they signed themselves out and they got to leave immediately. All of the fucking 6 people right after I said it, so it's all chronological. It's all like, it's a lot of coincidences freaking me the fuck out. So, where am I at? Yeah, familiar. Decides leave. Yeah. I'm thinking these evil thoughts and I'm ashamed. So I'm trying to put, like, anytime I would think an evil thought, I say three or four nice things about the person if I can think that thought, because it was just so much at once. So, all right, the patient, or the guy, I'm ready to go. So I'm thinking I'm holier than thou. 2 weeks I'm released, but I stopped taking my meds because I didn't know what schizophrenia was. I didn't know how serious it was. I didn't know. I'm thinking this is just anxiety while I'm hearing voices and I'm just thinking fast, just anxiety out, I'm just thinking fast and stuff, like it's just weird. And a lot of weird events happening. Like I went to the gas station near me and there was a white dude, a black dude, this girl, and they were all different races, and they were needing my help to get in the car, and she locked herself out. So I go home, and I've got so much evil shit in my head, but I'm still trying to do good. I go home, grab a hanger, bring it, and, we're all working together to open this door for this black lady. And she gives me a hug, and, she's, I'm wearing a Phoenix mask that I got from a thrift shop. I'm wearing a Phoenix mask. A couple days ago or days around the same time, I burnt $1, ripped $1, ate $1. And I put bones 1, 2, 3. I had National Geographic and Beyonce People stuff, so I ripped them up and I'm looking and I keep hearing them like, we got one, we see one, like their voices are talking to me, and I'm big into music, so when I watch music videos, I'd see the eyes blacken, And like shit like that. So I'm really like thinking like Illuminati or some shit, but Masons are real. But like I live down the street from a Masonic complex now. But energy doesn't die, I feel. Um so I'm hallucinating these blonde hair, blue eyed people, and when I walk into the gas station, they're all staring at me like, him? I'm hearing words, him, haha, him, what? Like I'm hearing this shit like I'm reading their brain or something. So they're like scoffing and stuff, and after a lot of coincidences, like I'll be talking and my parents will be talking and they'll answer one of my thoughts, or I'll watch TV and they'll answer, or I'll be listening to music and I'm riding my bike down the street and I can mix up some letters in the sign and it'll be the word that I just listened to passing by it. Like weird shit like that. So everything like it feels like the universe is speaking to me somehow. And I was put on in Vegas Stena, a shot in my ass, painful shit, long ass needle in your butt cheek, every month, and that was because I wouldn't take my meds. So for like a week, every month, I would start to dwindle down and really hallucinate really bad, and it was unbearable. Like every end of the month. So it was starting to like balance my chemicals, the dopamine receptors, D4, 5. Like I know all about I know all about the illness, and I guess this, in Vegas is Stena, and then I went to olanzapine, Zyprexa. I think that's the same thing. Like a couple different meds. Abilify, which is shitty. I hated that med. Hated Abilify. It was just a horrible time. Horrible time. And like I was slowly healing. It would take away the voices, a little bit, but I mean, I really was barely even managing. So I'm in and out of rehab, changing meds and stuff, and I'm slowly getting better because I'm putting myself in predicaments to talk to people and not isolating when pushing myself, pushing. And it was just a couple months ago I started to meditate, learn about chakras, third eye chakra, all that stuff, chakras. And like schizophrenia is heightened senses, sensitivity. Like my brain can't handle it very well. It was like boom. It's too much at once. But with a muscle, when you tear something and you build it back, it comes back stronger. So I started learning history and about Horus, Ra, ancient Egyptian, Allah, Ganesha, all the stuff like that. Like heaven is within you, like all this stuff like that. So I started to I couldn't, I wear this, but like I don't pick sides. I believe in all ideas of Christ. When the devil has many names, why is it just Christ? Christ has many names. A lot of deities that were like similar a little bit. So I got really suicidal and I started listening to the music. And I feel like the music showed me a lot about God more than anything. Like what I'm saying, Ace Boogie, Jungle, like watch some of them videos. When in the Bible it says the genealogy of Jesus Christ. Okay, that's the first sentence. Look up the word genealogy. It's like ancestor or something. It's something else like a bloodline. But when you scroll, when you scroll down, press the arrow down, you will find another definition that also says a plant's or animal's evolutionary, I don't know the exact shit, but evolutionary state, like plant or animal evolution, So that's what genealogy also means, So it's like weird, And I know I'm gonna probably make some people mad with some of the things, but like when you think about it, like what was trying to be perfect in this world? I can recall some things. Killed by the Jew. Like, I'm just gonna let you think. But, like, I'm from Illinois. I do kind of have a little Lincoln look. You know? it's just weird. When I got this, I got a staph infection. Staph. I worked at First Staffing. You know, like, I didn't know I got the sun on my stomach that I would see that as my God. You know, I didn't know. You know, Scorpio, marigold sunflower. It's like a bird. Uh, you know, poison myself. That's what the K2. That's what it was, K2. So, incense, like a sage burning in your brain. You know, I don't know. It's just weird. Uh, when I look at the biography of Abe Lincoln and stuff, I can see some of the eyes that some of my family members have. Weird. I have a son named Avery James Patrick Johnson. Avery is leader of Santa's Elves. I didn't know that. I just recently learned that. Leader of Santa's Elves. James Fowler. Patrick, like me. Patrician King. Johnson Dick. Or trustworthy. So, here, I got another part too I'm going to add. But I'm going to end it right on 30 minutes, half hour.
All right, that was Kevin's story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys are wanting to tell yours, please write me on my Instagram or write me on Facebook. All right? I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Stay wonderful, stay beautiful, stay amazing, stay awesome, stay unique, and above all else, you guys, love yourselves. All right? Peace and love.